Situated in the landmass of Asia, India covers 2,973,193 square kilometers of land and 314,070 square kilometers of water, making it the seventh biggest country on the planet with a complete zone of 3,287,263 square kilometers. Encircled by Bhutan, Nepal, and Bangladesh toward the northeast, China toward the north, Pakistan toward the northwest, and Sri Lanka of the southeast coast. India is a place where there is old civic establishments. India's social, monetary, and social designs are the results of a long interaction of local extension. Indian history starts with the introduction of the Indus Valley Civilization and the happening to the Aryans. These two stages are typically portrayed as the pre-Vedic and Vedic age. Hinduism emerged in the Vedic time frame. The 5th century saw the unification of India under Ashoka, who had changed over to Buddhism, and it is in his reign that Buddhism spread in numerous pieces of Asia. In the 8th century, Islam came to India interestingly, and by the 11th century had immovably settled itself in India as a political power. It brought about the arrangement of the Delhi Sultanate, which was at long last prevailing by the Mughal Empire, under which India by and by accomplished a huge proportion of political solidarity. It was in the 17th century that the Europeans came to India. This concurred with the deterioration of the Mughal Empire, making ready for territorial states. In the challenge for matchless quality, the English arose, victors. The rebellion of 1857–58, which looked to re-establish Indian matchless quality, was squashed. And with the ensuing delegated of Victoria as Empress of India, the consolidation of India into the realm was finished. It was trailed by India's battle for freedom, which we got in the year 1947. Here is a concise timetable about the historical backdrop of India. Old India history. The history of India starts with the Indus Valley Civilization and the happening to the Aryans. These two stages are for the most part portrayed as the pre-Vedic and Vedic periods. The most punctual scholarly source that reveals insight into India's past is the Rig Veda. It is hard to date this work with any exactness based on custom and uncertain galactic data contained in the songs. Indus Valley development, which prospered between 2800 BC and 1800 BC, had a high-level and thriving monetary framework. The Indus Valley individuals rehearsed farming, tamed animals, made apparatuses and weapons from copper, bronze, and tin, and surprisingly exchanged with some Middle East nations. The Indus Valley Civilization. Quite a while passed, in the Eastern world, there rose a couple of civilizations. The primary purposes behind the ascent of these metropolitan civic establishments were admittance to waterways, which served different elements of people. Alongside the Mesopotamian development and the Egyptian human progress, rose the Indus Valley Civilization traversing northwest India and cutting-edge Pakistan. The biggest among the three human advancements, the Indus Valley progress thrived around 2600 BC, at which time farming in India began prospering. The fruitful Indus Valley made it feasible for agribusiness to be done for a huge scope. The most notable towns of the Indus Valley in the present date are Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. Uncovering these two towns showed Backhoe's looks into the extravagance of the Indus Valley human advancement, proven in vestiges and things like family articles, war weapons, gold and silver decoration, etc. Individuals of the Indus Valley human advancement lived in very much arranged towns and all around planned houses made of heated blocks. In a time of advancements and success, progress, shockingly, reached a conclusion by around 1300 BC, chiefly because of common cataclysms. Vedic Civilization. The following time that India saw was that of the Vedic human progress, prospering along the waterway Saraswati, named after the Vedas, which portray the early writing of the Hindus. The two biggest sagas of this period were the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, actually held in extraordinary adoration by the supporters of Hinduism. Buddhist Era. Next came the Buddhist period, during the hour of the Mahajanapadas, which were the 16 incredible forces, during the 7th and the 6th hundreds of years BC. Conspicuous forces at the time were the Sakyas of Kapilavastu and the Likchavis of Vaishali. Buddha, whose unique name was Siddhartha Gautam, was brought into the world in Lumbini close to Kapilavastu and was the author of Buddhism, a religion dependent on mysticism. He passed on at 80 years old in 480 BC, yet his lessons spread all through southern and eastern Asia and are followed across the present reality. The invasion of Alexander. At the point when Alexander attacked India in 326 BC, he crossed the Indus waterway and crushed the Indian rulers in fight. Essential of the Indians' endeavors at war was the utilization of elephants, something that the Macedonians had never seen. Alexander at that point assumed control over the terrains of the crushed rulers. The Gupta Dynasty. The Gupta time frame has been alluded to as the golden age of Indian history. At the point when Chandragupta I got the endowment of Pataliputra in share when he wedded the girl of the head of the Likchavis, he began to set out the establishment of his realm, which reached out from the stream Ganges or the Ganga to the city of Allahabad. He governed for a very long time and was additionally alluded to as the Lord of Rulers for his essential triumphs and the prospering territory of India. Harshavardhana. The remainder of the old realms in India was by the ruler Harshavardhana, who rose the seat at Thanishwar and Kannauj after his sibling passed on. While effective in a couple of his triumphs, he at last got crushed by the Chalukya kingdom of Deccan India. Harshavardhana was notable for setting up relations with the Chinese, and furthermore for having high strict resilience and solid regulatory abilities. The Cholas were the main rulers right now, the 9th century AD. Their realm covered a huge piece of South India, including Sri Lanka and the Maldives. While the rulers administered fearlessly and completed the extension of different regions in India, the domain reached a conclusion in the 14th century AD with an attack by a man named Kafur Malik. The landmarks from the Chola dynasty are as yet flawless and are known for their provincial appeal. The following significant domain was that of the Mughals, went before by an ascent in Islamic rulers. The attack of Timur was a critical point in Indian history before a Hindu recovery development called the Bhakti development became. At last, in the 16th century, the Mughal domain began to rise. Probably the best realm of India, the Mughal domain was a rich and magnificent one, with the entire of India joined together and governed by one ruler. The Mughal kings were Babar, Humayun, Sher Shah Suri, not a Mughal ruler, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb. They were answerable for setting up proficient policy implementation, spreading out foundation, and advancing expressions of the human experience. An enormous number of landmarks in India today exist from the Mughal time frame. The demise of the last Mughal king, Aurangzeb, planted the seeds of breaking down inside India. Influences of Islamic design in India, the Mughal rulers are as yet thought back in amazement. Akbar. Ruler Akbar, otherwise called Akbar the Great or Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar, was the third head of the Mughal Empire, after Babur and Humayun. He was the child of Nasiruddin Humayun and succeeded him as the sovereign in the year 1556 when he was just 13 years of age. Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan, otherwise called Shabudin Muhammad Shah Jahan, was a Mughal emperor who managed in the Indian subcontinent from 1628 to 1658. He was the fifth Mughal ruler, after Babur, Humayun, Akbar, and Jahangir. Shah Jahan succeeded the seat subsequent to rebelling against his dad, Jahangir. Chhatrapati Shivaji. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was the organizer of the Maratha Empire in western India. He is viewed as probably the best fighter of his time, and even today, accounts of his endeavors are described as a piece of the fables. Ruler Shivaji utilized the guerrilla strategies to catch a piece of the, at that point, prevailing Mughal realm. Present-day Indian history. During the late 16th and the 17th centuries, the European exchanging organizations India contended with one another fiercely. By the last quarter of the 18th century, the English had outperformed all others and set up themselves as the predominant force in India. The British controlled India for a time of around 2 centuries and achieved progressive changes in the social, political and monetary existence of the country. Be that as it may, the apex of colonization was accomplished when the British showed up in the mid-1600s as dealers. Exploiting the breaking down that existed in India after the Mughal rule, the British effectively utilized the methodology of separation and rule to control over India for more than 2 centuries. While the British had come in before, they just accomplished political force in 1757 AD after the Battle of Plassey. They took a distinct fascination for the assets that India needed to offer and have been glanced back at as pillages of India's abundance of assets, as they took cotton, flavors, silk, and tea, among various different assets. While they did spread out a monstrous lump of India's foundation, by additionally bringing the Indian steam motors, it is only occasionally glanced back at as an equivalent relationship. The British Raj was disruptive and set Indians in opposition to each other, based on religion, and furthermore abused the workers. The Indians were basically captives of the British guideline and were buckling down with no profits on their work. This, normally, prompted numerous insurrections, and unmistakable political dissidents went to the front line. Various philosophies of thought accepted that there were various methods of acquiring opportunity. In any case, they all had one shared objective: opportunity. The British sovereign had stated that the point of the British was to help India progress. Notwithstanding, various issues emerged without the discussion of Indian pioneers. One significant case of this was when in the First World War, Britain dispatched an assault on Germany in the interest of India, despite the fact that India didn't want for that to occur, and a large number of Indian warriors were at the bleeding edge of the British Indian Army during both the universal conflicts, further fueling the Indian obstruction. Over 1 million Indian fighters were slaughtered in both the World Wars. Activities in Mumbai. Mumbai, once in the past known as Bombay, is the waterfront capital of Maharashtra state in west-central India. It's the country's cash-related and business capital and its central port on the Arabian Sea. With a normal people outperforming 12 million, it's the most packed city in India that is home to a segment of the country's most excessive areas and its most noteworthy ghettos. It's ideal to visit Mumbai around mid-October till February when the environment is great. Here is a rundown of the main 10 activities in Mumbai. 5 things to do in Mumbai at night. Doubtlessly, Mumbai is among the top urban areas for the individuals who need to encounter India's energetic metropolitan nightlife. The city that never rests has something to bring to the table everybody, from clubs and parlors to underground music scenes. The nightlife in Mumbai is extremely extraordinary that guests begin to look all starry-eyed at it. Perhaps interestingly, there is no particular fun opportunity to visit the city to encounter the nightlife. Here are a portion of the spots to encounter the heavenly nightlife of Mumbai. In the event that you need to hang out alone or with companions. One night stroll on Marine Drive. The agreeable nightlife of Mumbai awakens at Marine Drive post 6 p.m. Sitting on the pieces, taking a gander at the shimmering Mumbai cityscape drawing closer ridiculous is a completely fundamental issue. Come here to notice the glimmering lights of the city. Nip into the Bade Mian Bistro in Colaba for a luscious tikka or roll, followed by a nice night's rest at one of these lodgings in Colaba. 2 Pav Bhaji at Chowpatty. You realize this was coming, isn't unreasonably correct? For how is it possible that a wood summary of the best 10 exercises in Mumbai reject the well-known sections of Chowpatty? One could make a piece about the well-known Pav Bhaji served at Suk Sagar Diner close Chowpatty coastline. The Vada Pav at the enveloping diners is nearly as great. One tip, in any case, ignore your eating routine-related questions at home, dwelling when you come here. The writing is on the wall, that is my overview on Mumbai. Besides, surely, I'm sure I've left behind a colossal measure of stuff. Be a nice peruser and point out them, will you? The comments territory under will not just fill itself. 3 Trilogy in Juhu is one of the top dance club in Mumbai, situated in Juhu's Hotel Sea Princess. It is a famous fascination for its red mentors and its long wooden bar, alongside intriguing mixed drinks and wines. 4 Blue Frog. Situated in Lower Apparel. It changed the idea of unrecorded music in the city. This club is a center for famous people. The spot has an egg-molded guest plan, other than extraordinary food, beverages, and prominent guests. 5. Catch a Play at Prithvi Theatre. Framed in 1978 by Shashi Kapoor in the memory of his father and astounding Bollywood star, Prithviraj Kapoor, the Prithvi Theatre is the most prominent scene for the performing articulations in Mumbai. The theatre belts out around 550 shows each year, with presentations from Tuesday through Sunday. Ensuing to watching a play, you can chill at the Prithvi Cafe, whose Irish coffee and mouth-watering samosas come especially suggested. Best parks and nature attractions in Mumbai. 1. The Sanjay Gandhi National Park is rich with greenery. Other than being an occupant tiger populace, the recreation centre is home to an enormous assortment of birds, butterflies, and deer. The recreation centre is likewise ideal for journeying, trekking, climbing and contemplating. The Kanheri Caves sit in the recreation centre and are an absolute necessity fascination. Also, there is Mad Island, celebrated for its beachside towns and gatherings. Local people go there when they need to disappear to the seashore. The shores are encircled by mangroves, giving the island a provincial vibe. One can unwind at Aksa Beach, meander through the neighborhood fishing towns or appreciate the engineering of the memorable Mad Fort. There is likewise Elephanta Island, known for its caverns, where loads of nearby families head for a loosening up cookout. 2. Take the kids to Imagica. Promoted as South Asia's greatest beguilement entertainment mecca, Imagica encourages one to recall Disneyland somewhat. Regardless, that assessment closes once you endeavor a bit of its quirkier rides, like Mr. India, given the film, where you seek after the perniciousness Magambo in a vehicle that turns, plunges and takes off to make for one amazing experience. Gigantic, topsy-turvy roller coaster resembles the Scream Machine due value to their names, while a great deal of coffee shops are set up ridiculous 110 part of the land park. A helpful piece of counsel: think about eating after the rides to avoid hot-related mishaps. Top local dishes must attempt in Mumbai. Food individuals would discover Mumbai truly wonderful, as its culinary scene is tremendous and different. The city offers various kinds of food, from noteworthy eateries that serve kebabs toward the South Indian cafes. Mumbai food experience makes the city an absolute necessity visit place for any foodie, for its Parsi cafes and Vada Pav slows down. 1. Fish at Trishna or Gyali. Returning from a Mumbai trip without pigging out on its fish should be denounced. A couple of notable bistros and fish joints serve new catch for their hordes of allies. No conversation on Mumbai fish is done without Trishna and Gyali. Trishna is a significant draw with overall pioneers and neighborhood individuals the equivalent, because of its garlic margarine crabs and Kolawadi prawns. Gyali has wandered into a foundation, yet you ought to, regardless, find your feet to the mother transport at Vilpal for the lavish tandoori crab served there. As the Global Citizen India show starts at 4 p.m., it is a brilliant idea to grab a considerable lunch and subsequently head for a magnificent night with presentations by Coldplay, Jay-Z, A.R. Rahman, Arijit Singh, and various performers. 2. Take a ride in the local train. Passing on up to 8 million explorers for every day, the Mumbai area is the city's huge vehicle course. Stodgy, riotous and amassed, one has simply to board one of these neighborhood individuals to watch the city get together. A celebrated saying goes, on the off chance that you haven't gone on an area, you haven't seen Mumbai yet. Best street markets in Mumbai. Mumbai's business sectors are among the best in India and they worth visiting. Mumbai has a lot of business sectors, from the celebrated Chor Bazaar to the notable Crawford Market. Regardless of whether guests need to buy collectibles, trinkets, dress or flavors, Mumbai has markets for their necessities. Road shopping, Colaba Causeway, Fashion Street, Linking Road. In case there's a liberal mix of shopaholism and arrangement pursuing in your blood, street shopping in Mumbai will not disappoint. A mind-blowing spot to start is the Colaba Causeway, where you get really everything from books and crafted works to collectibles, diamonds, and pieces of clothing. Hit the Leopold Cafe sometime later for a justified goodie break. Or of course you could take a gander at Fashion Street, a celebrated regular of students since, all things considered, plan. Interfacing road is the spot east meets west, trendy person meets chic and KFC meets Jai Jawan kebab delayed down. India customs and traditions. Find out about India customs and customs with our trips to India, finding how faith, family, and standings shape each part of Indian culture from birth to death and every one of the preliminaries and gatherings in the middle. Indian culture is organized around the families individuals are naturally introduced to and where they are conceived. In any case, India is an assorted country that consolidates numerous societies. Read on the dive more into following points. Indian culture and method of living. Confidence, family, and ranks shape pretty much every part of Indian culture from birth to death and every one of the preliminaries and gatherings in the middle. Indian culture is organized around the families individuals are naturally introduced to and where they are conceived. People acquire their social position and stay inside it all through life. A station, or jati signifying birth, is the level inside the social framework that figures out who individuals will wed and frequently even what profession they can seek after, where they can live and what they can eat. There is in excess of 2,000 jati and they fall inside 4 perceived position gatherings, or varnas. Brahmins, ministers and the most instructed, Kshatriyas, heroes and landowners, Vaishyas, vendors, and Sudras, experts and laborers. A 5th, informal gathering, the Panchamas were truly called the untouchables, and in later years the Dalit or abused. About 17% of India's populace has a place with this most minimal of gatherings and performs ranch work or other manual work thought to contaminate or tarnish higher positions in the framework. As well as being distinguished and included as a component of social position, most Indians stay inside nuclear families that cross ages, from most youthful to most seasoned, all living inside similar lodging quarters or complex. Dialects with true status in India. India contains 28 states. Thus, there is no authority language in India. Albeit Hindi is the authority language of the public authority, the Constitution of India formally perceives 23 authority dialects. Men in a family line regularly stay with their introduction to the world families until their own dads kick the bucket and they start more distant families of their own, while ladies will leave their homes once they wed and become part of another's a more distant family unit. Most females in India leave their families at a youthful age, and a family's rank and area have a ton to do with when a young lady will be hitched. In 1929, Indian law precluded relationships for young ladies under 12 years old, permitting those 12 and over to become ladies. However, in 1978, as far as possible by law, got 18. With parental assent, in any case, numerous families adhere to their strict laws and social practices and mastermind relationships for young ladies when adolescents. And keeping in mind that India accepts the act of wedding for adoration and sentiment among two individuals, the most well-known practice is for the families to discover mates for their kids in an organized marriage dependent on standing, strict convictions, and soothsaying. When a lady and man of the hour are guaranteed to each other, a progression of commitment parties, magnificence customs, and family suppers and gatherings start, paving the way to a marriage festivity that keeps going from 3 days to 7 days. A few couples approach commitment and wedding never having met until they return home together after the functions as husband and spouse. Alongside rich style and luxurious galas, Indian weddings ordinarily include a lady dressed in red. Accepted to represent thriving, karma, and richness, red marriage wear is a customary top pick, much as white outfits overwhelm Western weddings. Current Indian ladies now and again pick dull tints other than red and pick purple, dim yellow, blue or pink. Relationships keep an eye on keep going forever, and the separation rate in India is exceptionally low, assessed at under 10%, and a few investigations show that the rate is climbing. People are firmly urged to remain together as a feature of their practice and to work through any issues, even intense ones, instead of isolated or separation. India customs and traditions. Religions in India. Religion in India is the establishment for most everyday issues for people and families. In excess of 80% of Indians are Hindus and more than 13% are Muslims. India is the origination of Buddhism, and at one time many Indians were Buddhists, yet in present-day times under 1% of the populace follows Buddha. Christians and Sikhs have around 2% of adherents each. Indian Hinduism, similar to a portion of its divine beings and goddesses, has numerous appearances relying upon standing and area. Sanctums and spots of journey in one district may contrast totally from those in different territories, and keeping in mind that many follow the Vedas as being hallowed writings and Dharma as good code, not all do. Confidence in a preeminent god is normal, however the divine beings and goddesses that come from him differ. Resurrection, or returning to post-existence in a ceaseless circle of death and resurrection is normal, similar to a faith in karma, or the just desserts of sorts that figures out what level and what structure you will take while being reawakened. Karma depends generally on what you did while alive, great and awful. Indian Muslims follow Islam and its particular god, Allah, and they allude to the Quran as their hallowed content. Lessons from the Prophet Muhammad are vital to conduct and codes of living in a general public in India as somewhere else. This implies holding Muslim law over all others. Islam showed up in India through Persian, Turkish and Arab winners in about the 8th century. The majority of the subcontinent was changed over to Muslim convictions by the 13th century, yet European guideline prompted a fading of Islam. At the point when India acquired its freedom from the British in 1947, the nation was separated into Pakistan, with supporters of Islam, and India and its followers of Hinduism. Manners in India. Indian manners is a mix of British and Asian societies. Now and again, it appears to be recognizable toward the Western, in any case, some different occasions it doesn't. To explain, Indian manners varies concerning the eating customs. It is legitimate for Indians to eat with their hands. They will in general eat with their correct hand, just as the left hand is viewed as messy. Also, sharing food is a decent Indian way. Indians will in general request various dishes and offer them all together. In any case, they don't share cutlery, nor they take food from one another's plates. They show appreciation and applause the food as opposed to saying, "much obliged." With respect to social decorum, when Indians are welcome to somebody's home, it is viewed as terrible habits on the off chance that they show up on a period, dissimilar to in Western culture. It is a decent way to show up 15 to 30 minutes late. It is additionally typical for welcomed visitors to carry companions with them. In addition, it is smarter to put together a smorgasbord as opposed to serving a supper. It is likewise a smart thought to phone the welcomed visitors one day preceding the occasion, as it is viewed as amiable. India customs and traditions. Apparel in India. With respect to the Indian materials, they are described by their tones. Ladies wear beautiful silk saris, which are a customary custom in India with brilliant tones. Men likewise have a customary custom that is known as a dhoti. It is an unstitched piece of material that is tied around men's midriff and legs. Men in India likewise dress in a kurta, which is a free shirt about knee length. Men wear a sherwani or akhan on uncommon events, which is a long coat with a collar. Popular Indian customs. Namaste. It is a word utilized for hello individuals in India. It is the most widely recognized hello among different good tidings. This hello is set apart by the offer of putting the two palms together and raising them beneath the face. Tilak. It is a custom imprint made on the brow between the eyebrows with kumkum or chandan as an indication of gift. Aarti. It is a commitment, love or inviting demonstration. It is principally performed while revering God. It is a flowed lamb around a divinity or individual. It is normally joined by singing melodies. Bindi. It is an imprint made with the vermilion powder that ladies wear on their brow to show that they are hitched. It addresses female energy. Prostrating before guardians and elderly folks. It is a demonstration of regard. Youngsters kneel and contact the feet of the elderly folks, guardians, and educators. Thusly, the elderly folks give endowments by putting their hands on the top of the youngsters. Manali. Being quite possibly the most well-known slope stations in India, Manali is settled in the middle of the snow-covered inclines of the Pir Panjal and the Daladhar ranges. With its stunning perspectives, rich green backwoods, spouting blue streams, and rambling glades, Manali has beautiful excellence. From museums to sanctuaries, Manali has something to bring to the table everybody lasting through the year, from interesting little radical towns to clamoring upscale roads, stream experiences to traveling trails. Old Manila is a peaceful, quiet spot that has clean streets, charming little diners, influencing eucalyptus trees and little neighborhood commercial centers, and bistros. Manali, India has an intriguing history. It would prefer to be known as a fantasy or a conviction of the legends of this appealing excellence. It is said that Manali has the home to the lawgiver Manu. While he was looking for his protected house, Manali gave him the protected asylum and climate. When he tracked down a little fish which requested that he take care of her with dedication, one day she would give him incredible assistance. He cared for the fish until the fish became incredibly colossal. Prior to withdrawing to the ocean, she cautioned Manu about the downpour where the whole world will be lowered under the water and he would construct an ocean commendable ark. The 7 sages and the Vaivashvata were given the well-being by the Matsya, the fish, as the world was lowered under the water in view of the flood. The water level died down and the 7th Manu's ark came for the lay-on slope, and afterward, this spot got its name Manali after him. In the process drying the water, the spot turned out as a stunning stunner and life started again. The high mountains were covered with white snow and the profound rock-flung gorges. The timberlands began to load up with woody trees and the climate began having windy breezes, and the tunes of the birds made this spot an unbelievable support for human existence. Presently it has become the conspicuous traveler objective of India. Best time to visit. The popular slope station of Manali is astonishing all around the year. Summers bring relief from the warmed fields of the country, while winter covers the spot with a sheet of white snow. One can appreciate touring and experience sports in summers like stream boating, zip covering, paragliding and zorbing. Winters are ideal for appreciating snowfall alongside snow sports in Manali. It is prudent to maintain a strategic distance from the stormy season, from July to August, because of avalanches. From September to February, the temperatures may go down, short 1 degree, and the climate will be incredibly cold. During December and January, the spot is totally canvassed in snow. Presently it is the ideal opportunity for snow sports like skiing and so forth. Walk to June are mid-year months with the temperatures differing between 10 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. During this time, experience exercises and touring at Selang Valley and Rohtang Pass are an absolute necessity. The most effective method to reach. Via air, located a ways off of around 50 kilometers from the primary city, Kullu Manali Airport or Buntu Airport is the closest air terminal to Manali. It is all around associated with standard trips to Indian urban communities like Delhi and Chandigarh. Private taxis are accessible from outside the air terminal. By rail, Joginder Nagar Rail Route Station is the closest rail line station to Manali. It is situated a ways off of 143 kilometers from here. 2 other closest rail route stations, interfacing Manali with different spots in India, are Chandigarh Rail Route Station, 314 kilometers, and Ambala Kant Junction, 342 kilometers. Cabs and transports are accessible to take you from the railroad stations. A large portion of India's significant objections are associated with Manali, like Delhi, Leh, Kullu, Dharamshala, Chandigarh, Ambala, Dehradun and Shimla. Also, private taxis, private and state-run transports employ to Manali consistently. There are cooled and standard transport administrations. Activities. 1. Hidimba Temple Manali. Developed in the 16th century, Hidimba Temple is perhaps the best spot to visit in Manali. It is situated in the midst of a lovely deodar timberland on top of a slope in Manali. The sanctuary has incredible importance for local people and the sightseers who visit the explorer spot to look for favors from goddess Hidimba. The sanctuary is devoted to the goddess Hidimba, who was the spouse of the Pandava siblings, Bhima. As per the Hindu folklore, the goddess Hidimba reflected in this spot as an expression of remorse for her wrongdoings. In this manner, the most remarkable goddess Durga gave her the situation of goddess. 2. Old Manali. Old Manali is notable for clutching some time away from the horde of the new town. Like the old visitor houses situated nearby, orchards are of a unique interest to travelers. 3. Manu Temple, Manali. Situated in Old Manali a good ways off of 3 kilometers from the principal market, the sanctuary is committed to the sage Manu, who is supposed to be the maker of the world and the author of Manu Smriti. The presence of the river bees adds to the sanctuary's fascination. Being one of the significant attractions in Manali, it is accepted to be a similar spot where sage Manu reflected subsequent to stepping on earth. The notoriety of this critical sanctuary lies in the way that it is the lone sanctuary committed to Manu. 4. Selang Valley, Manali. Otherwise called the Snow Valley, it is popular for facilitating different winter experience sports like skiing, paragliding, dropping, traveling, and mountaineering. Situated at a normal height of 2,560 meters above ocean level, it is perhaps the most pleasant sights in Manali and quite possibly the most loved traveling focal points of the sightseers. Selang Valley is situated between the Selang town and Bees Kund. The feature of Selang Valley, Manali is that colder time of year skiing celebration is coordinated in it consistently. Exercises like zorbing, snow motorbikes and horse riding are offered for the amusement of travelers. 5. Himalayan Nyingmapa Buddhist Temple. Showing a 2-story sculpture of Shakyamuni, the chronicled Buddha, Himalayan Nyingmapa Buddhist Temple draws in individuals from wherever independent of their strict confidence. 6. Naga. The town of Naga lies someplace in the middle of Kullu and Manali. The main fascination in the valley is an old palace that is presently changed over to an inn. 7. Van Vihar Park. Van Vihar Park is a magnificent spot to have an evening break with loved ones. It has a youngsters' park and a little lake for drifting experience. 8. Lord Ram Temple. The sanctuary has Lord Ram, the upholder of Dharma, as its excellent god. It is situated close to Vashisht hot water spring. Individuals shower in sacred waters and love Lord and nature for such blessings. Best hotels in India. India is a magnificent objective to visit, offering a lot of development experiences. Reaching out from the strong apexes from Himalayas towards north and hot coastlines in south, the India's broad edges encompass an awesome extent of separations, religions, social orders, and scenes. Country is place of various World Heritage objections, against seventh wonder from world Taj Mahal to glorious manners. Additionally, posts be built a few time earlier, at this point status upstanding toward depict presentation of rich culture and history. The nation in like manner incorporates tremendous wild districts, cross-country parks and nature shelters. These are house to invigorating untamed life, for instance, elephants, tigers, and lions. Here is gathering for dumbfounding lodgings inside India, where you can stay rich excess. The Oberoi. Alongside the more quiet completion of the Midtown Esplanade, the Oberoi is incredibly rich. The organization is immediately captivating. All classes of housing face outwards, and most offer expansive viewpoints on the sea or roads. The style all through the rooms and suites is pleasantly contemporary, for instance present-day craftsmanship and stay singular shower, and there is ideal usage of floor-to-rooftop windows. The Oberoi is associated with the Trident Hotel, which has comparative owners, so guests can similarly value the workplaces there, which recollect a play territory for a nursery and a logically imperative pool. In addition, the improvements for families at both the hotels are better compared to at basically all rival motels. The Oberoi faces the sea and is incorporated by magnificent spots to eat, drink, and shop, walkable utilizing dark walkways, including a mall. Taj Umaid Barwan. Indeed, even the most fatigued jaws drop on landing in Taj Umaid Barwan Palace, the overwhelming imperial home turned lavish lodging in the northern Indian city of Jodhpur. As it is probably the best inn in India. Unexpectedly, a 1920 starvation across Rajasthan persuaded then Maharaja Umaid Singh Ji to assemble his Art Deco help project, making work for 3,000 individuals, among them relatives of the Taj Mahal carvers who etched the stunning yellow sandstone facade here. Today, the regal family lives in a single wing while visitors imagine stay in the other. Take an advantageous diversion to the on-location gallery, loaded up with photographs and memorabilia listing the bejeweled lives of Jodhpur's tip-top. Since 1972, the castle has worked as a legacy inn. Every one of the 64 sizable rooms are furnished with Wi-Fi and non-stop steward administration. However, they add more Raj ceremony than real help. Eat in any event once in the marble column structure where perspectives on Mehrangarh Fort and the royal residence itself go with an extraordinary tandoori chicken without the tart vinegar persistent flavor of the American translation. Town visits start with a customary opium function before visitors adventure into the sand ridges for champagne at dusk. Oberoi Rajvilas. Viewed as perhaps the best lodging in India and in the midst of 32 sections of land of purple jacaranda and yellow gulmohar trees, this fortification-style inn reviews the times of the Rajputs, with structural subtleties like blue tile and metal entryways. The grounds are delightful. Maybe you're at your own private royal residence. But it's somewhat a long way from the focal point of town. Accommodations are in group structures or independent extravagance tents. The previous have gold leaf paintings and submerged showers, the last teak floors and walled gardens. With its pink stone exteriors, perfect castles, and rose-toned dusks, Jaipur resembles the arrangement of a film about Indian sovereigns of yesteryear. This lively, intriguing location in India's inside is home to an extravagance resort that is out-and-out supernatural, the Oberoi Rajvilas. Spread out in a stronghold setting, on arranged nurseries spotted with structures and reflection pools, this inn will cause you to feel like eminence. An entire 54 select rooms and estates and 14 completely cooled extravagance tents anticipate your landing in the Oberoi Rajvilas, Jaipur, which are all roomy, one of a kind, and wonderfully rich. Furthermore, if the tranquility of your room isn't exactly re-establishing your inward equilibrium, maybe a yoga meeting, almost an antiquated Shiva sanctuary will get the job done. Thereafter, enjoy fine Indian cooking under the stars in the Surya Mahal patio and let yourself be cleared away by the evening's music and dance exhibitions. Taj Rambla Palace. This totally excellent re-established 1835 royal residence was worked for the sovereign's #1 handmaiden, and later utilized as an imperial visitor house and chasing lodge. Its rooms have 4 banner beds and strolling closets. The Sukh Niwas suite accompanies curved stonework, finished curtains and textures, gem ceiling fixtures, gold leaf frescoes, and huge windows that open onto the nurseries and perspectives on the Aravalli slopes. Appreciate an evening of champagne, twilight, and candles in a private feasting tent enlightened by blazing lights and pitched on the royal residence greens. The steam bar is in a re-established train. The perfect Rajasthani themes, stonework, cut columns, and rich silks make certain to make you at home in your impermanent realm. Also, however, you may never need to venture outside your royal residence. It's your imperial obligation to investigate the pleasant pink city of Jaipur, a memorable city of heavenly sanctuaries and resplendent castles. Following a day of exploring the complex city roads, Rambla Palace, Jaipur offers a wanton rest for tired feet. Book an Indian fragrant healing treatment at Jiva Spa, and appreciate a pre-supper mixed drink in the upscale Polo Bar. At that point, go out on the town under a gem light fixture in the fantastic eating corridor, Suvarna Mahal, where gold-plated silverware and unblemished china are de rigueur. Aman I Khas. This stylish retreat, adjoining Ranthambore National Park, home to common life including tigers, pumas, and jackals, is 17 kilometers from Ranthambore Fort. The 10 wonderful, Mughal-awakened tents have 6 high safe houses and cooling. All-part sitting zones, rooms and washrooms separated by cotton wraps, and arranged sun decks. Wi-Fi is open. Kindnesses join a devouring tent with a shared round table and day-by-day pit fire. There's in like manner a spa with Ayurvedic medications and outside yoga. The Taj Mahal Palace. Reverse the Arabian Sea. This extravagant housing is a 6-minute walk around the Gateway of India and 3 kilometers from the clamoring Marine Drive. The refined rooms go with free Wi-Fi, level screens and turn-down organization. Club-level rooms incorporate head worker organization, marble washrooms and admittance to a private parlor serving refreshments and starters. Suites incorporate parlors, and the official suite gives a spa and a well-being room. Free endowments consolidate a morning supper buffet, pausing and air terminal pickup, for club-level and suites guests. There are 11 upscale diners and bars. A spa, a wonderfulness salon, an outside pool, a health room, and an extravagant shopping zone are furthermore on the spot.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Life is Often if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.